All right, CSS battle time for July 3rd. I actually have some time today. I'm not under a complete time crunch. So, I'm going to first do this the way, I'm going to try to do it the way I might have approached it when I was new to CSS battle. And then I'm going to do it the way I would approach it now. So, new to CSS battle, when I didn't know any of the tricks, divs were the thing to use because they behaved consistently. So I'm going to make some more divs here, and I'm going to do class equal. I'm just going to use P, and then class equal R, because I'm saving characters, right? So class P is for pink, class R is for red, and then I'm going to do a class, and I'm going to call it, I don't know, have to talk, have to type, I mean. So I'm going to have one that's class P R1, and then one that's class PR2. So I'm going to have pink, then red, then pink, then red, and then pink. And then I need another red in between these two. So, first things first, we have to select our body and say margin 0. And we can also say color is this color. Oh, no, not color, dummy, background. Okay, so that sets our background up. And then we have a div who's not going to be 100 by 100. I don't think it's that big. I guess let's turn on div. Yeah, it's not that big. It's going to be 80. Oops. 80. Not 880 by 80. I think that's the right size. And then we're going to have dot P is going to be this color. Background. Okay. And we're also going to have another div on the outside. Div class equal W. W. Instead of doing that, this one's going to wrap everything. And then we're going to have a .w display flex. So that made things very thin. So we're going to say min width is 80. And then flex wrap is going to be wrap. Then we need a couple more divs. So we're going to go pink, red, pink, red, pink. And then we're going to go some other interesting color. I'm going to say D for dark pink, whatever. Pink, red, pink, red, pink. And then we're going to do D. And then we're going to have a D here. All right, so we have pink, we need to have red, dot R. It'll be background, this color. And then this one, actually, we don't have to have class on, maybe. Yeah, we do. So then D there are those. And then we need class, what I call it, R1 and R2. It'll be border radius 0, 0, 0, 32 pixels. That's too much. 40 maybe. That looks right. And then R2, border radius 0, 0, 40 pixels 0. All right, there we have a match, I think. Yep, there's our match. So now we can start cleaning stuff up. So we get rid of all that. We have a bunch of things in here we can clean up. Actually, let's go ahead and variabilize stuff, assuming we knew that trick. So we could say var minus minus b. It'll make it kind of more of a fair comparison if we do variables here. So everywhere we see background, we can replace it with minus minus b. If I think I broke something. Yeah, I did definitely break something. Oh, because it doesn't inherit. Ooh, interesting. So we can't do that. We could theoretically do it on the div, maybe? Let's see. Let's clean this thing up. There. Okay, now we're matching again. Can we do it there? Yeah, we can do it there. Okay. That saves us some characters. Border radius should not. We'd have to define it on the div, which we could do. We could say border radius 0, 0, 0, and then we could variabilize that. We could say var minus minus r comma, and then that, and then here we can just say r. Technically, that saves us some characters. All right, now I'm going to start minifying. And I have a bunch of these, which I can clean up. And some final stuff. All right, so we end up with a score. Well, we end up with 489 characters, whatever score that is. 603. Now, I'm going to approach it a different way. So let's write down somewhere 603. Where is Notepad? Six oh three. 489. All right, now I'm going to approach it a different way. So add my style tags. All right, this time, what I'm thinking, I've seen Seth use a lot of great big backgrounds, a lot of great big drop shadows to do his backgrounds. What I think I want to do is, I don't know, I'm going to have a repeating background. I think I want a repeating background. I'm not sure how I'm going to structure stuff yet, but I want a repeating background on the HTML, I guess. So I'm going to do background, linear gradient, and I always just start these with something simple to see if they're working. red, blue. Okay, fine. And now this one I want at 90 degrees. Red, blue. Now 90 degrees, pink to the dark color. And then I want a pixel value, which I think is 80 pixels. And then this one's going to be 0. And I'm also seeing my body there. So I'm going to temporarily say background, transparent, put a semicolon on this. There. Okay. Now I'm going to say 0, 0. And then I think this is going to be 160. And this is going to be 80. Okay, that's got my initial repeat for this first row going. Now, I think I want to margin that 0, 0, 80, 0. That didn't do what I thought it was going to do. I thought that was going to constrain the thing to this margin, which it's not. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this background. And let's margin this. Margin. This margin is going to be 80, 80, 160, 80. And that's not quite right. 40. There we go. The border radius going to be 0 to 40 pixels, 40 pixels. And now I just need to figure out how to clean the rest of this up. So why is that even there? I don't think this is going to work, but let's box shadow 0, 0, 0, 5 inches, and this color. So that is hiding the rest of my stuff, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I could make this something like 200 pixels and then offset it this way to 100 pixels. So that should be a match. Okay, so that is better. Let's clean up a few things. I only use background once. I can get rid of a space or two here, I think. Not that one. Can we get rid of these? No. Can't get rid of those. All right, that's going to be good enough. All right, so that's 163 characters. That's better. So instead of having a score of, what do we have? 603, we have a score of 684. So that's it. I'm going to call that a day. See you guys next time. Thanks.